All right. Good morning, Yolanda. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Yes, me too. I can't
Good.
wait.
So this is Yolanda, and she is from Discover Puerto Rico. And I was with her last week in Puerto Rico, getting to see what Puerto Rico has to offer for our clients, both conference and incentive and meeting clients. And I had a couple questions that I wanted to ask Yolanda that I think our clients would find super helpful. And I know Yolanda has a couple questions for me as a planner looking at Puerto Rico. So we're going to ask a total of 4 questions. I'm going to do my 2 first, and then Yolanda's going to do her 2. And then hopefully that will give all of you some information about Puerto Rico and why we both think that it's such an incredible location for your conferences, incentive programs, and meetings. All right. So Yolanda, you and I first met in Banff at the site exchange. And I remember there were 2 things that you said to me specifically that really stuck with me in that meeting that I was so happy to be able to experience for myself last week in Puerto Rico and really get an understanding and a feeling for those things. So the very first one was that you told me that Puerto Rico does not have all-inclusive resorts. For our clients, I know that that is for one of the clients that we had a program for in December, like that was an automatic no for them. If it didn't have all inclusive, it wasn't an option. So I would love for you to be able to explain to the viewers why Puerto Rico doesn't have all inclusives and why that still makes Puerto Rico a really great option for clients.
Very good. And thank you so much for putting this together. I appreciate your engagement in the FAMs. It's so important to when you come to learn, and you were constantly learning and asking, and I appreciate this after FAM interview. So great question, and I love to address it. So my answers are going to be revolving around a trend that is happening in meetings is instead of return on investment so much, people are looking on return of experience. I'm hoping that all inclusives will literally go away because I think the new generation is looking for something outside of the hotel, because you do remain in an all-inclusive setting, you remain inside. And I always say that we're an all-inclusive destination. We have so much more to offer. Why would you want to stay inside of a hotel? We don't really compete against Mexico, other Caribbean islands, in that we have so much more to offer because of that, other than beaches and sands. That's why I wanted so much for you to come out, because the impression is that we only do incentives and we only do all inclusives. So our real competition is more like Florida, other states that are warm in the United States, more so than other Caribbean islands. And more importantly, the reason we don't do, and the number one reason we don't do all inclusives is because we are under US labor laws. So we do pay minimum wage to our labor force. We do pay Social Security taxes, and that's prohibits to make a profit is going to be very difficult for hotel chains to have to pay that and also make a profit with the all-inclusive package. And all-inclusives are actually, when you really break it down, are getting to be a little bit more expensive than when you do it a la carte. I know it's easier for the planner. However, having said this, there are resorts that will do beverage packages and food packages, but I always like to say it's not your I don't like to mislead and say, oh yeah, we have packages and we'll do them, but they'll do beverage packages because I think that's the cost that most people are concerned about. It goes out of whack. But so because of those reasons, we're hoping that more and more people will come to Puerto Rico and explore and not do all inclusive. But I realize that it's still it's something that it's easy to plan for, is one big price for one. So I hope that answers the question.
It does, for sure. And I think one thing that I realized when we were doing our program in December is that although our client went to an all-inclusive, there were still additional costs that, like, you think all-inclusive and you think, okay, I'm only paying, I don't know, whatever it was, like $500 per night per person, whatever that number is. But then, like, if the client wanted to have a special dinner on the beach, there were additional fees on top of that, right? Like, there were all kinds of additional fees. So that all-inclusive concept is fine if the client is only looking for taking people to a resort, everyone eats off the buffet. There is no like extra to that. Because if you're going to take them off-site, you still have to pay for that. If you're going to do some kind of special dinner on-site, you still have to pay for that. So it's not as all-inclusive as people might think. So you really need to be looking, in my opinion, as a planner, you really need to be looking at the entire budget and what is the, like, what can we do with that budget? Worry less about whether the resort is all inclusive. Let's look at your budget and let's figure out what is the best that we can get for that amount of money.
Right. But the client, we have to educate because they just think all inclusive. So it's harder on you, on the planner, because then you have to educate it and you just want to follow instructions. Okay, all inclusive, let's go here. But I think the trend is changing. People are tired of going to the same all inclusive. Again, the younger generation is going to look for more experiences. They want to get out. They want to be with the locals. They want to experience the culture. And sometimes you just have those cookie cutter restaurants that have the Italian, the international, the Greek, and the Asian. And then, yeah, when you can get the island feel. So yeah, I think the trend is changing. So you won't have to educate them, but it's a slow move.
Yeah. Love that. All right. So my second question for you, I remember when I first sat down at your table and we started talking and you said to me, have you ever considered Puerto Rico? And I forget exactly how I answered, but it came out something like, yeah, it would be a really cool incentive place. And you immediately said, we're not just incentives. We can do conferences and meetings too. So I was wondering if you wanted to tell us a little bit about what Puerto Rico has to offer when it comes to conferences. I saw it firsthand last week. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But for our viewers, like, when you think about a Caribbean island, they're all going to think incentive program, go there to relax. But let's flip the table and talk about hosting a conference in the Caribbean and what that looks like.
And for you to say that when you didn't even see our convention center and our big entertainment complex, because we kind of focused on MICE, under one roof, meaning you could do incentive meetings and events. We showed you those because we can't show you all of it, but for you to say that, then yes, you got it, that yes, we can do. We, again, I'm going to say return on experience, that we have spaces, we have meeting spaces, we have outdoor spaces, tons of ballrooms with ceiling to floor windows, beautiful, like the Vanderbilt and El Conquistador. We have so much infrastructure. We have 5G network. We're not just an incentive relaxation place. We have community service projects that we are, our DMCs work at. We have transportation structure, international airport. It's not just beaches and sand. So, and, conference service planners that, we do meetings all the time. And I want Canada to see it as that also. So I'm so glad that you got that. Our infrastructure, like I said, the convention center, we have so many other things that, again, we don't really compete so much with anything that you want to book in Florida, I always say, or Arizona, Phoenix, California, Louisiana, is definitely game for Puerto Rico. So it's an international feel, but with a domestic safety involved. And so just like what you would find in the US. So does that kind of help?
Yeah, absolutely. So those are my two questions. You're up.
Okay.
I'm on the hot seat now.
Yes, hot seat. So, and I don't think I told you which they were, but I think you'll know the answer. Okay. So my biggest question that I always ask planners at the end when I'm taking them to the airport is, so what is the myth that has been dispelled? So what did you think about Puerto Rico? And now that you've seen it, it's like, oh, wow, it's not like that at all.
Okay, good. I'm so glad you asked me that question. And because I was going to jump in on a few things you were saying in answers to mine, and then I didn't want to in case I ruined your question, which I would have. So I'm so glad. Okay. For me, when I looked at Puerto Rico, when you and I first met, to me, I pictured, for one, I didn't know it was American. That was a big one for me. I had no idea. I I thought it was just like a Caribbean island like Mexico and like all the others. So my thinking was, and when I came to see you, was I was expecting a Mexico resort. So lower quality, and I know they do have higher quality ones, but I'm talking like in general, a little bit lower quality. What was the other thing I was thinking? Being on island time, like with the program that we're working with, like it was very like slow to get everything. And they always, you know, and the emails would always come back, haha, you know, on island time. And which is fine. And it's, you know, and it's okay. But when you're trying to do business in Canada or the United States, it's very hard. Like that joke gets tired very quickly, right? And clients are trying to move things forward. So to me, it really opened my eyes that Puerto Rico has the best of both worlds. It has that Caribbean feel that everyone loves, but has American standards, which then elevates our event, which elevates our planning process, which elevates the overall experience for our client, which is like top priority for us.
Great point. Love it. Yeah, our speed. We do have island time and we are on an island. And I don't know if it's the weather, it just warms you up and melts you or something, but that warmth comes through in how but we do have the sense of urgency because yes, our number one client is the American traveler planner, and we understand that. So we have to be accelerated, and I'm glad you recognize that. So that's a really good one. And then what would you tell planners that are looking to, I'm curious, what would you tell planners now that are looking to do an event in Puerto Rico? That would sum it up.
Oh my goodness, so much. I think the one thing I will focus on is that what I loved most was I loved that the first half of our fam, you showed us hotels that were like when you look at them, you're looking at it as a hotel. And then the second half, you were looking at it as a resort. Me as a newcomer to the island, when I was there, the first few that you showed us, to me, I was like, oh my God, this is so tropical. It feels like a resort. This is amazing. Our clients are going to love it. This is exactly what we're looking for. And then you took us on part 2, which was resorts. And I was like, oh my God, like they have both. So we have, like, you can have that hotel feel and still feel like you're in Puerto Rico and not locked away in a boardroom somewhere, which I think is super amazing. But then you could also take clients to an actual resort, what Americans and Canadians would think of as a resort, and still do all the same stuff. Like, it's like you guys have taken the best of both worlds and put them in both locations. So the hotel that I would have expected had the big conference center and the boardrooms and all of that stuff, had all of that. But then when you step outside, you felt like you were at a resort. Then when we went to the resort, that should feel more like just a resort and you're relaxing, you walk through the doors and there's a giant conference center and meeting spaces and all the other stuff too. So I felt like you had such a range of those options for us to be able to take to our clients as opportunities for them to look at, and what is the look and feel that they're going for their event, and they're not locked into one type of event. When they go to Puerto Rico, we could actually do it all.
Exactly. And that's why when we do sites, when we have a short list, and I say, wait until the end, because and people ask me, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? It depends. It depends on, it doesn't matter. It's what the goals and objectives are. You know, maybe it's a sales kickoff. Maybe it's a training. Maybe it's a launch, a product launch. It depends. And yes, we have everything. And some of the hotels can be all things too. Some could be an incentive and a very good board meeting and a sales kickoff. So yeah, I always wait till the end and then see. So now you have so much more in your arsenal of toolkit to offer your clients, because I know all of you have also American and Canadian clients. So I really appreciate this question and answer, because I wish I could do this with everyone at the end. I really appreciate this engagement and that you came. You're my new influencer now.
No, I'm so happy to do it. And I, like you and I talked about this while we were there, that's that's our responsibility, right? When we get the honor to be invited to these programs, our job is to really absorb everything that you guys are telling us and learn and understand, but then also to help you all promote it and to get the word out from our perspective, right? Because it's easy for you guys to come out and like, we love Puerto Rico, and like, of course you do, because you're getting paid to love it. That's your job. That's what you have to do. But for us, when we're pitched by every location, it's an opportunity for us to really focus on the things that we loved about it from a planner's perspective that we know our clients would love. So thank you for taking the time.
Yes, and I'll wrap it up saying, and at the end of the day, we want to help you because it is complex. We want to help you, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. And maybe next time.
Yeah. So. Yeah. One last thing I wanted to just touch on that you were talking about with when you were saying, like telling people when they were asking you what's your favorite, and like wait to the end, wait till you see all of them, that there were several planners on our fam last week who had specific clients or their business or whatever was already going to Puerto Rico. They already had an RFP out. And a few of them were changing their mind throughout the week. I could see them like they went in with an intention of booking a particular hotel. And by the time we got to the end of the week, when I had the same conversation with them, they were like, yeah, I don't know anymore. Now I need to go back to my boss or back to the client because I see another opportunity here that I don't think we knew about.
That's excellent. Great point.
Yeah.
Love
Super cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciated getting to spend this time with you and to answer some questions that I know our viewers are going to find super helpful. And then hopefully in turn, clients for us reaching out who really want to look at different opportunities to take their clients to a new location for them.
Awesome. I love it.
Thank you.